I'm joined by Dr. Saju Matthew. Doctor, always good to see you. Thank you. Let's start with Biden's cancer initiative. I mentioned that this is something we can all get behind. We need more funding for cancer to the tune of $3 billion. That's a big portion. What types of things would you like to see that go towards?
Listen, Marni, everything you mentioned, the lead up is actually good news, specifically talking about President Biden's very ambitious plan to cut the risk of cancer by 50% or cancer death by 50% in the next 25 years. I think that that is attainable. As a primary care physician, Marni, I'm responsible for screening patients for breast cancer, for colon cancer. And we have got good tests, mammograms and colonoscopies for those. But what we don't have really are good tumor marker tests to detect pancreatic cancer. A lot of patients with pancreatic cancer are diagnosed towards the end stages. And the same thing for ovarian cancer in women as well. So I'd love to see a good chunk of this money go towards developing good biomedical markers so that primary care physicians like me can catch these diagnoses early than in the latter stages of cancer.
Right. So prevention and detection are key. So is treatment. Would you like to see money used to find better treatments? And I know doctors don't like to use the word cure, but someday having a cure for all of these cancers and ailments?
100%. I mean, the bottom line with cancer, Marni, as you know, is early detection. So you have to first detect the cancer early and then have a good prognosis through better treatment plans, whether it's chemotherapy or radiation. But once again, millions of Americans will be diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. And get this. It is the second leading cause of death in the United States. And there are preventable cancers as well. If patients stop smoking, eat a healthy diet, there are ways to prevent this. But once again, unless we have good research tools and good monies that are put into these efforts, it is really difficult to have better cancer rates, really, in terms of survival rates for cancer patients.
One more quick question on cancer and research. Pediatric cancers have been historically underfunded. I would like to see more in the president's plan to address that. Are you seeing that? And talk a little bit about the discrepancy that we see for kids who get cancer.
When you talk about kids who get cancer, a lot of times, depending on the specific type of cancers, some of them are so rare. And unfortunately, if a cancer is rare, there's not a lot of attention that goes towards it. There's not a lot of funding that goes towards it. People are aware of the deaths that come from colon cancers that happened with the Black Panther Chadwick Boseman, who died in his 40s. People are sympathetic to that. People put money towards that. But there are kids with very rare cancers, Marni, that are suffering in pediatric hospitals. So a lot of this money should go towards the treatment, because a lot of cancers in kids actually can have a much better prognosis than in adults, depending on the specific type of cancer.
Yeah, it's really staggering to see how little pediatric cancer gets in terms of funding and research. You talk about early detection, this mammogram news and being able to communicate breast density to patients. How significant is this step and what will it mean?
I think moving forward, there should be an independent risk factor, which is if you have dense breast tissue, that in of itself should be an independent risk factor for breast cancer, because if you have dense breast tissue, your cancer risk can go up by 4 times. And a lot of times, Marni, you cannot tell if you have dense breast tissue through a self-breast exam. It really is a mammogram that can detect that. So now, with the FDA's guideline of requiring that women know if they have dense breast tissue, that is going to give an opportunity for patients to talk to their doctors. If I see a young patient, I usually order an ultrasound and not a mammogram, because a mammogram doesn't detect breast cancer in dense breast tissues as ultrasounds do, or you may have the option of getting an MRI. So I think this is crucial moving forward, that women know if they do have dense breast tissue, they can talk to me, they can talk to the GYN, and there are things that we can do to address that difficulty or the risk factor.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.